In episode number 257, we cover all of the extras from the Wonder Woman Blu-ray.
And just like they announced in the original trailer for Pokemon Go, it is what everyone thought it was going to be from day one. Over a year later, we're going to get Mewtwo in the latest app from Niantic.
And our comic book highlight this week is Harley Quinn number 25.
All of this and more on today's show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and so much more. I'm Kelli.
And I'm Daniel.
For those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome to the Broke Hat family. The way we format the show is first we start out with some news, ranging from all of those things we just mentioned, and we follow up with our comic book highlight of the week.
I am more rested. I am feeling better.
You are?
You sound more rested than last week.
I am not. I am in my third trimester of exhaustion, but I pull it together for the show.
You do, and you do a great job, and the Brokeheads appreciate it.
Thank you. It is fucking hard.
It's only going to get harder. You got, 8 more weeks?
9
more weeks?
8.5 weeks, give or take. He's probably going to be 2 weeks late, so then that bumps it up to 10 weeks. Whatever, I'm tired.
How you feeling otherwise? I know you're shopping for diaper bags.
Yes.
And you tried to get me to buy a diaper bag. You pulled up like the men's ones, and I'm like, these all look gay. Designers, it's not a knock on gay design things, but what's funny to me is that the designers try so hard because they're like, men are going to want something really manly. So they make them into like a belt bag, like a tool belt bag. And I'm like, this is gayer than what a normal bag would be. Like, I would rather have a regular diaper bag than like these are for men bags. Look at this army print on this one. I'm like, these are pretty gay, guys. Like, it seems very insecure in your masculinity that you don't need to have like a tool belt one. There might be some other things you need to explore if you're getting those. It's kind of like when you see those giant trucks, like the ginormous fucking trucks out there with some guy in there. It's like, okay, so the bigger the trucks, obviously the smaller the dick. Like, that's kind of the thing with the diaper bags too.
So then what do you say about the big trucks with like those metal balls hanging off the back of it?
Those are kind of funny, but it's still like, like I saw one today that had like, eat beef, the West wasn't won on salad. And I'm like, I think you might have a small dick, guy.
Think you might be insecure about something,
Something. Like, they're trying so hard to be manly, and that's what these bags are. Like, when you pulled up some of those, I'm like, yeah, these are the equivalent. These are the Hummers of diaper bags.
Well, you still need a diaper bag.
I'll use your fucking, I don't care. I'll use any diaper bag. I don't give a shit.
You want to use my fancy diaper bag?
I'll use because yours is practical. Like, what guys like is practicality. Yours, you can throw in the machine washer or the dishwasher, and you can just wash it like that. That's one of the features on the thing. If I can just throw it in something and it'll get cleaned, I want function over form.
All right. You can use my diaper bag.
This is why guys like 2-in-1 shampoos. Because it's just,
I hate
you do it in
2-in-1 shampoos. They
get
don't
it done.
Work as well.
It's fine.
No, they don't work as well.
Is my hair not nice?
Would your hair be nicer with conditioner?
Okay, Brokeheads, can you imagine my hair nicer? See, there we have the best listeners. They're gonna say your hair looks great, and that's gonna be it. 2-in-1 works.
Or they just won't comment at all, or they'll say, "Yeah, Kelly's right. You need 2 different shampoos.
It takes long,
a shampoo
though.
And a conditioner.
It takes too long.
I get that, but then it spends that time moisturizing your hair.
I don't need my hair is fine.
No, see, this is how it works, okay? You wash your hair, you rinse it. Then you put in conditioner, and then you leave the conditioner in while you do other things like wash your body or, shave your legs. Not that you're shaving your legs, but if you did. And then at the end, you rinse out the conditioner. Now it's had time to sit in there. So I'm not just standing there waiting for the conditioner to work.
No, I understand that because I've done the separate thing. The other problem I run into is I always run out of either the conditioner or the shampoo at different times.
Yes, that's how they get you to buy more.
Well, that's bullshit. Get the 2-in-1, everyone. Just get the 2-in-1.
Don't get 2-in-1.
On my work end, things are starting to slowly settle down. Like, I know, like the long shifts are, for the most part, done. Like, the all days and all night shifts are finished. Like, now we're getting things done at the shop, and things are feeling great. And it's all still going to be like, I'm looking at 2 months of work to get to where I feel like we should be. but it's still like, it feels good to be like, okay, now the long-term stuff begins. Like now we can start chipping away at pricing, back issues, processing these other things. And we've reached that point. So to me, like, work is slowly calming down. Last week was probably a way more difficult week than right now has been. And who knows, like, the week is not over, but we've got a lot of good things happening in the podcast as well. So far Leo is very healthy, and we've got more listeners joining the show, and big news coming up that we're going to kick off with before we go into news. But anything else you wanted to cover before we jump into what we have going on in the podcast?
I am just happy that your work is slowing down, because this is the most I have seen you, and I feel like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a very long time.
But you've been understanding, because as you mentioned, you were in a very similar position, about a year ago?
Yep. Well, a year ago is when I got my promotion at work, a little over a year ago now. And I mean, it was the same thing. It's go, go, go and grind, for a while. And as I mentioned before, you were very understanding then. And it's tough. I have people at work like, oh, you haven't seen your husband? How are you okay with that? I'm like, he's not going anywhere. I'm not going to be like, oh, work is busy right now. Marriage is over. I'll raise your son by myself. Like, it doesn't work that way. You support each other in these times. And I'm happy your location is closer than it was, so I've been able to come and see you for lunch a few times.
Yeah, which we haven't been able to do since I used to work at GameStop, I think, was the last time. So it kind of feels great to, like, you stop in at work, and I'm like, holy shit, I can just see my wife while I'm working. And she's, working on baby shower invitations while I'm working. Like, it's really nice.
I still haven't finished my registry. I went to the store the other day to, like, look up stuff and look at more baby things. And I'm like, oh my God, there's still so much I have to do.
And there will be things that you forget even after Leo's born. You're going to be like, holy shit, we forgot the bottles. We forgot the diapers. Like, the most essential thing is going to be what we forget.
And I know that there will be, and we'll figure it all out when we get there.
But enough of the Leo cast, enough of the baby cast. Let's jump into the news for the week.
We want to start off with some very, very exciting news for us, and a big thank you to all of our Brokettes for making this happen. We have been nominated for the 2017 Podcast Awards.
That is all thanks to the Brokettes out there, all of the listeners, all of you that went on the Podcast Awards website and went ahead and nominated the Reasons I'm Broke podcast for Games and Hobbies and People's Choice. While we did not get nominated for People's Choice, we are up for Games and Hobbies for this year's Podcast Awards, and that is fucking huge.
So
it is
cool.
Amazing. It is great. That is a testament to all of you. It's not the show. It's all of us together that collectively, all of you helped out in nominating the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, and now because of that, we are up for our very first award on the show. Like, even if we don't end up winning, this is now the Reasons I'm Broke, the 2017 Podcast Awards nominated for Games and Hobbies podcast. Like, that is something we'll always have forever, a feather in our cap.
I feel like a celebrity. Do I get to buy a fancy dress now for my award show?
For the red carpet? Yes. And it is now up to the panel of voters. So this is kind of like the Academy Awards, right? It is now up for these voters to go ahead and listen to every show that's in each category and vote based on what they listen to. So maybe this is the episode that they're listening to. I'm not sure. It could be last
Hello,
week's.
Guys.
But it is up to them, and they will vote on the Podcast Awards up till September 30th. And shortly after that, of course, the winners will be announced. And you will know for sure, regardless, one way or another. But it is still great that we are even nominated and up for Games and Hobbies. And this is, a little show that Kelli and I put together every week, and we do our best to meet up every week and bring you guys the latest news and really listen to you guys and see what you do interact with on Twitter and on Facebook, so that we can bring you some more of that news and really bring you your interests.
And we really cannot thank you guys enough for this opportunity, for nominating us for this. I never in a million years, when we started this thing, imagined that it would get as big as it did. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you guys so much for making just this nomination a reality for us.
And from the beginning of the show, remaining in the consistency of just putting out something every single week that hopefully you find entertaining, that you learn from, that you maybe just find funny. As long as you take something away from the show every week, whatever it may be, that's all we strive for. And thankfully, it sounds like we've been getting that, and we have been hitting that portion of what we, our goals there.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that is all thanks to all of you. If you don't tune in every week, then the show stops, and all of you have been, and this is why we continue. More than the Patreon, more than the reviews, it's the fact that there is an audience, and that is what keeps us going. Every single bit of it helps, of course, and the nomination process was great. All of you came out, the Brocat Core, right? The Brocat Core came out in full stride and supported the show. If you want to voice your support for the voting process, it's all up to them, of course, but if you just want to make yourself heard and put the reasons I'm broke further into the limelight during the voting process, if you go ahead and tweet at the podcast awards and use the hashtag PCA17 and mention at reasons I'm broke, we would definitely appreciate it. But again, that's not how the voting process would, it's not like the person that gets the most retweets or tweets gets more votes or anything like that. It's just a fun thing to do until the end of this. What I think it is September 30th when the awards are up. Until the end of this month, I got to make a correction here. It's the end of this month that the voting process ends. So in just a couple of weeks. And from there, it continues, and I may have to look this whole thing up. It's a whole mess, but with work and everything going on, this is the quality of podcast that is nominated on the Games and Hobbies. I think the imperfections are a part of it.
I think that is a big part of it. And if you are on the nominating panel, the judging panel,
yes, that's
and
right.
you are listening to this episode, thank you so much for this opportunity to judge us on our imperfections. And I am great with child. And it would mean a lot to us.
If you would like to follow the podcast awards, it is at Podcast Awards. Definitely shoot them a tweet. Once again, hashtag PCA17.
I will say before we get into the rest of our news, I discovered something this week that slipped my mind when we were talking about our weeks.
Yeah.
But now I remembered, and I have to share this with Brokettes. Being pregnant gets you everything.
I know you talked about work and how people are nicer to you.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes. No, this has flooded into my everyday life now.
All right.
It's not just, so when you cross the street, you go real slow because you waddle. That's what happens.
You do waddle.
I do. I walk real slow. I also jacked up my foot. That's part of my waddle.
I think that's the main reason.
That's the main reason. But people they don't even have a stop sign. They just stop your car and wave you on. I was in Target yesterday waddling around and all these women are just smiling at me. And then one old lady goes, "You look beautiful today." Thanks, lady. I had problems with my car this week. There's a little plate underneath it that came off and was flapping in the wind and scraping, and I thought my car was dying.
From hitting a curb, I'm assuming, right? That's what the mechanic said.
That's what the mechanic said, that I hit a curb. So I pull into the mechanic and I waddle in there and I'm rubbing my tummy. Because that's what you gotta do. You gotta play it up, right? Rubbing my stomach. And I was like, so there's this thing under my car and it's hitting, and I tried to get down there and I just can't. How much would it cost to fix it? And he just smiled at me, and there was one of his mechanics sitting next to him. He's like, "Go fix her car." And they fixed it for free.
That's amazing. That could be a scam. You could get one of those movie
fake
prop
bellies.
fake
Yeah,
bellies.
nobody would. I joked with my boss. I said, when all this is over, I need a fake belly because nobody says anything to me. I had 2 people try to scam me at work. Pull the whole, "Oh, we dropped our order outside, and we need a replacement." And they still do it, but you can tell they feel guilty about it because there's not as much. When I tell them no, there's not as much anger behind it. Because you can always tell when somebody's scamming.
Oh, yeah.
You did not take your food outside and drop it. That did not happen. "Oh, who cleaned it up for you?" "Oh, I don't know, just some guy." "Oh, really?" Because I would find out who cleaned it up for me and sit me back inside.
So tell me what they look like. It's always some mystery employee. I didn't really get a look at it.
Exactly.
They become the most oblivious, mysterious employee in the world.
But there's not as much when I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have a receipt, I can't replace it." They're just like, "Oh, okay, I'll go buy it." Instead of being like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah."
Now let me ask you something. What if they describe the employee and it happens to fit the description of the Hamburglar? Would you?
I'd be like, oh, fuck, man. Yeah, here you go. he was in a striped shirt with some red hair sticking out everywhere.
And a domino mask.
His name was Hamburg. He was from Germany. I don't know. I'd be like, oh, man, fuck me. Yeah, that's him. Here you go.
It's incredible. So take advantage of it all you can.
Oh, I do. I play it up.
Keep it going.
I know how to lean back and rub your belly real good. It's great.
So I know this first bit of like official regular pop culture news doesn't really relate to the superhero stuff, but I love my James Bond. And I want to see more of
yes, you do.
Daniel Craig as James Bond, being that he is my favorite Bond. Mm-hmm. And in an
your
interview,
man crush?
One of my man crushes.
Okay, I'm sorry, multiple man crushes.
That's normal, right? Guys just have normal, multiple man crushes. Sure. So in an interview with Magic 106.7, actor Daniel Craig spoke out on his role in the future of the Bond franchise with the inevitable Bond 25.
Quote, "No decision has been made at the moment. There's a lot of noise out there and nothing official has been confirmed. And I'm not, like, holding out for money or doing anything like that. It's just all very personal decisions to be made at the moment. I know they're desperate to get going, and I would in theory love to do it, but there is no decision, just yet." End quote.
He says it's not about money.
It's about money.
It might be. I think it's a money thing. Here, Daniel Craig had previously stated that he'd rather slit his own wrists than play James Bond again, and this is from TheGuardian.com. He was probably tired.
I would rather slit my wrist than play James Bond for this puny money that they pay me. That's what he was saying.
Under his breath, it probably was about money.
Yes.
They're trying to get Bond 25 out in 2019, so they would definitely have to get rolling on this. The way that Spectre ended, like, it did give Bond somewhat of a definitive ending in which he kind of sort of, he could leave it behind there. That could be an ending, but the fact that we had one of his main villains reintroduced in this movie as a brand new reboot of the character, it kind of tells you that that's not all of it, especially since, spoiler if you haven't seen Spectre, it's been out for a while now, but so there's your warning. They didn't kill him off. That villain lived, and presumably to use him in another film. And I'm guessing Bond 25 was that movie to use him on. So if he returns, I think Bond 25 is definitely his very last one. But he has stated in the past, very much like Hugh Jackman said, that at his age, he has to work twice as hard to keep up the physique of James Bond, or in, Hugh Jackman's case, Wolverine.
And what a physique for both of them.
It's a struggle, though. Like, imagine that is your job 24/7, because for that period of filming, you have to adjust your lifestyle from what you normally do to this very, very strict plan and very strict diet so that you can look better on screen.
All they gotta do is tack a few more zeros on that paycheck and he'll be back, and they will put those zeros on because they will make money with this movie.
I really do hope he is back. Like, I really like Daniel Craig and he's great, and I know, we're a movie away from getting a brand new James Bond, but he fucking kicked ass, and my favorite one is still Casino Royale, the very first one. The Quantum of Solace, not very good, but then, you had Skyfall, which was incredible. And the Spectre was pretty good too. It wasn't as good as Skyfall,
though. That first scene in Spectre, though, was amazing.
In Mexico City,
yes, with the Day of the Dead, and then you're like, oh, we're just following this random suit man, and then boom, James Bond seducing a lady.
The fucking oldest lady in the James Bond franchise and the whole history, the oldest Bond girl. She was also the Italian woman, which that's who she is anyway, but in Matrix Reloaded, I think that's the second one, and that's the one when he tells Neo, like, kiss me the way you kiss her, because I haven't felt love in years, and so he tries, and she's like, no, that's not how you do it. And then he finally imagines that it's Trinity, to the point where Trinity gets jealous at the way that Neo's kissing her. That's that character. Monica Bellucci, I believe is her name, actually.
I think so.
And she was in this Bond film as, the oldest Bond girl in the franchise. And to credit this current Bond, she doesn't die. And that's been a theme in all these Bond movies where all these girls die, and this one doesn't. So, I don't know, it's kind of cool. The other thing that people have been saying about the Bond franchise is that in this day and age, he's too machismo for the crowd. That, like, he's too much of a womanizer.
Oh, man. No, that's what makes him great.
that it's not, politically correct or whatever.
Has
but
James Bond ever been politically
he's
correct?
never been. And Daniel Craig has said that Bond's kind of a shitty guy. And it's he is. That's what this arc has been building of, he's an alcoholic and all these women end up dead because of him and he pretends not to care. But you can kind of tell that he sort of does, but not enough to actually stop, fucking all these women and getting attention. He gets the job done,
How do people expect women to watch these movies and fall in love with Bond if he's not a shitty person?
Is that how it works? He has to be a shitty guy?
Yeah, because they have to fix him.
Oh, he's a project.
Yes.
All those women do have to fix Bond. Like, even Brosnan Bond, like, he was a project himself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's very interesting to see that we may see a different Bond in the future, maybe a softer one, but as you mentioned, that's not really what we want to see, right? We want to see the asshole Bond, and I think that's why Craig has been my favorite. He is a huge, he's a dick.
I want a Bond that I have to fix. That I can sit there and think, if I were his Bond girl, he would fall in love with me. That's how women think. We're real fucked up. It's not good. It's not a good thing.
So hopefully it returns. We shall see. We talked about Pokemon Go earlier, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon Go developers Niantic recently announced Mewtwo as an available catch through their exclusive raids.
Okay.
We stopped playing, right?
A lot of people stopped playing.
But they came back when they brought back the legendary birds.
Yeah, some people did. I remember I deleted this a long-ass time ago on my phone. And somebody at work's like, oh, I just caught this in Pokemon Go. It's so cool. I'm like, I deleted that shit a while ago. And then they're like, oh, no, I still play mine all the time. And then a week later, he came back to me and he's like, I just deleted my Pokemon Go. I'm like, all right.
Is Mewtwo enough to bring people back? If the birds aren't, are you at all tempted to catch Mewtwo?
A little bit, but now you got to do these raid things, so I got to have friends.
Yeah, you got to find... Well, I mean, you'll make friends at these things.
I don't have friends.
You'll make them at the event.
I am 7 months pregnant. I don't want to see the outside world.
Yeah, you don't want to do much walking either.
Hell no.
It's supposed to be good for you, though.
I walk plenty at work, thank you. That's how I jacked up my foot.
So from Niantic, we have a quote here on how the Mewtwo catching is going to work.
Quote, exclusive raid battles are similar to existing raid battles with a few notable differences. Exclusive raids will periodically appear at gyms around the world. However, unlike existing raids, trainers will be invited to join an exclusive raid battle. To receive an invitation to participate in an exclusive raid battle, trainers must have successfully completed a raid recently by defeating the raid boss at the gym where the exclusive raid battle will be taking place. The invitations will include advance warnings of when the exclusive raid will take place, giving them ample time to coordinate with other trainers before taking on the powerful raid boss. End quote. I hope that made sense to somebody.
Oh, some Pokemon Go player already knows this information, and they are ready for fucking Mewtwo. It's really cool, right? Mewtwo is an awesome, one of the best Pokemon of all time. Not in my top 10, but that might be my favorite legendary out of all the games.
Huh, really?
Oh, who did I miss? Who did I fucking miss?
I don't know, but there's somebody that I'm sure you like more.
I love Jirachi, and
yes.
I did put Jirachi in my tattoo list when I had the artist design it, and when she had to cut down on it, at Jirachi I did drop. But I don't know, I think Jirachi's aesthetic is more pleasing to the eye for a tattoo, at least for me, than Mewtwo. And it's also much easier to fit on a collage of Pokemon than Mewtwo would be. But it's up in the air. I really like Jirachi and I really like Mewtwo, but Mewtwo might be my favorite. I think it's because, going into that cave for the first time when you're playing Pokemon Blue all those years. I played Blue. I don't know what you played. You played Yellow for sure. We all did.
Everyone in the world. Blue.
Okay, great. So we both did Blue. We both, that was the better one.
Got past the guy with the afro.
Yeah, he went away and behind him there was a cave.
Yeah. Surprise.
So the first time you go in there, you go through this goddamn cave. There's all these high-level Pokemon. I've got my Venusaur kicking fucking ass. And then you go through all of the fucking boulder pushing and falling down holes and surfing. And you finally get to the final spot where there's this, icon of a Pokemon that you're like, yeah, I've seen this when I press the start button, but who is this? And you click it, and then you hear the fucking Mewtwo in the encounter, and it is, you see Mewtwo for the very first time, and you're like, this is a fucking alien or some shit. Like,
hope you saved, motherfucker.
This is that fucking experiment that you had been reading about on Cinnabar Island. This is Mew's kid, Mew's child. They call it the clone, but, it's kind of like how Terry McGinnis is Batman's clone and son at the same time. So it's you finally go into Mewtwo, uses Psychic, and Psychic Pokemon are the strongest ones in the game already. They had, I don't even know if they had a weakness to Bug back then, but even if they did, who the fuck raised the Bug Pokemon?
Their only weakness was Psychic, so you were fucked when you fought them.
Yeah, did you catch an Abra? That was like the only Psychic Pokemon you could, like maybe Jinx?
But the thing is, when you fought Psychic with Psychic, yeah, you were super effective, but they were super effective against you.
That's true.
So it didn't really matter.
And I think Psychic was still super effective against Grass also. Like, I know Venusaur is weak against Fire and Psychic, but my fucking Venusaur was a fucking boss, man. Like, he beat the shit out of that Mewtwo. We fucking caught it with a Master Ball and called it a fucking day.
Wait, why'd you beat the shit out of him and then catch him with a Master Ball?
Because I was a paranoid child and I wanted to make sure that I caught this fucking thing. Like, you don't trust the game. You've never seen a movie. You're like, what the fuck is a Master Ball? Like, you don't know how it works. There were no instructions. There was no game facts back then. And even now, people don't use game facts. They use YouTube. That's how outdated this shit was.
I would only pick up Pokemon Go again and catch Mewtwo if when you catch him, he's like, this world isn't worth living, or something like that.
All his bullshit from that first movie?
Yes, and it was so great.
What is my purpose? Like, I wish I was in that fucking movie so I could be like, Mewtwo, you don't have a purpose. Like, no one, it's whatever you make it. Like, whatever you decide to make your purpose is what your fucking purpose is. No one gives it, you don't inherently have one. It's whatever you do with it. Take your fucking clones, get off this fucking island. If you are tired of, if you don't feel like you're anyone because you're a clone, get over your fucking self and do something in the world. And that's how you matter. Fucking asshole. Fucking starting this fight with all these goddamn Pokemon. Quit being a goddamn dick.
I'd be standing behind you going, mm-hmm.
That's right.
That's right.
What was that video? That like... Where were they from? I forgot what state they were from.
I don't remember that either. It was in retaliation to somebody who made fun of them on the internet, though. It was a daughter and her mom. And she's like, and that's my mom.
And she has a bra underneath. And then the 50-year-old mom flashes the camera. And she's like, yeah.
And my dad died last week.
My brother has Alzheimer's. He's 21. And I'm like, why is she bragging about all these awful things in her life?
I don't know. And what was her husband's name? Frederick. And I got Frederick Jr. in my stomach.
Yeah, that's right. She was pregnant too. It was such a crazy fucking video.
What would we do without the internet?
I don't know what we did without the internet.
YouTube?
We watched VHSs
and people. We wouldn't have so many wonderful things.
It's true, man. Like, people like to pretend as if, like, the times are... Like, I know there's... Outside of the internet, there's a lot of shit happening, but it's not like... When you were a kid, yeah, you were more sheltered. You weren't as exposed to it, but there was still fucked up shit back then that... Like, I can name some things that I was, scarred with for life, and it's just always an ongoing thing. It's because you grew up in those times that certain things are amplified based on what it is. So some of the negativities, which may not be as bad to me, are going to be worse to future generations. And vice versa. Something that I found terrible might not be as bad for future kids. But yeah, the fucking internet is a wonderful tool, and it is a gift, and you find stupid shit like that, and then you also interact with people. Like a fucking podcast. We couldn't have that without the internet.
I don't know what I would do without my dog rescue videos. I watch about 7 of them a day, and I cry every time. It's forever home. But forever is spelled F-U-R. Ever.
What? Oh, of course it is. Of course it fucking is.
It's forever home.
I prefer the military dog videos.
Oh, no.
Where they've been in Iraq for 5 years, and the dog, assumed that their owner was just dead or gone or something.
The dog never forgot him.
The dog never forgot, and they lose their fucking shit. They lose their shit when they're the owner, they just can't contain themselves in their little doggy bodies, and it's just there's so much excitement, and they're jumping, and the owner's crying, and we're crying.
Or when they meet their babies for the first time, like their owners have babies and then they bring them home and then the dog's like in love with the baby immediately.
Yeah, I guess those two.
Have you seen, speaking of dogs losing their shit, the one where the dog gets scared and literally loses its shit?
No.
Oh man, the owner's hiding behind something, like jumps out at him and scares the dog, and the dog starts running but then like squats. Loses his shit. I'm gonna have to find that video for
That's
you.
fine. As the owner, you gotta be like, I did this. You know, I fucking did this. And the dog's like, you fucking dick. Clean this up.
You did this.
So what about the internet? We were talking about the internet.
We
Mewtwo,
love the internet.
Goddamn Mewtwo. So the exclusive raids for Mewtwo will be focused on primary cities throughout the world and not simply in the nearest gym. So this is going to be another event type thing. You can't just catch them anywhere like you could the legendary birds.
Mm-hmm. Players expect a date announcement in the next couple of weeks. So they'll give out more information. This is the date it's going to roll out. Find some friends.
These are the cities. It's probably going to be New York, you know, maybe Orlando. Maybe we'll be able to catch me. If Orlando's one of them, I will be severely tempted to, if it happens to be when I'm not working, that's the other fucking thing. It's going to be when I'm fucking working.
You can download it again. That's fine. Enjoy. I like all this free space on my phone.
You know, they've put out like 7 different versions of Pikachu at this point.
And I love every one of them, but I don't need to capture them because I don't have time or resources or, like we said, people to hang out with outside my home because I don't leave my home. I go to work, I come home, and I sleep.
You need to rest. You're growing a human fucking being.
A human fucking being. Not just a human being.
It's amazing. Like you're growing a person.
I know, it's so weird. And then like when he moves and I feel his little foot and he sticks his little butt out and I'm like, what are you doing, Leo?
Although women for, you know, millions of years have been like, we've been fucking doing this for a while, all right? It's
Kelli,
fine.
you're not special.
You're not special.
You're not special.
Last bit of news here, and this has to do with DC. We've got the Wonder Woman Blu-ray features coming up so fucking soon. This is going to sell out. It's going to sell so well for Warner Brothers and DC Entertainment. It's just, I really cannot wait to watch this Blu-ray again. We've got Batman and Harley Quinn right around the corner, but I'm more excited right now to get Wonder Woman and dig through these special features.
And my mom still hasn't seen Wonder Woman, so I am so excited so I can show this to my mom. So I can be like, yeah, Mom, woman power. That's what we're about. So this movie will be coming out on DVD, Ultra HD Blu-ray, Blu-ray 3D combo pack, and just Blu-ray combo pack.
Which is what we will be getting.
Yes.
The one that comes with the digital version where we're just like, all right, I guess.
You say that, but every time you got something on Vudu, you never look for that Blu-ray anymore. You just pull it up on there.
For the most part, I just pull it up on there, but I would never just buy Vudu. I would buy the fucking Blu-ray every time. Like it's not that much of an inconvenience to like, well, let me get this nice Blu-ray case, this physical product, and throw it in the Blu-ray.
Let me look at the cover again and see how nice it was.
I love doing that shit. Like just opening it and going through the, like I know they don't have the
plastic
inside.
Smell. It's probably giving us all cancer.
Probably. So let's go down the list of special features. The biggest one is this one, Kelli. Etta's mission. And this new scene, Etta Candy, gets the boys back together for a secret mission that could impact humanity's future. So bonus footage.
Ooh, I hope they play Dude Looks Like a Lady in it.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. I just hope they all get dressed up and play Dude Looks Like a Lady. Because that'd be cool. Like you see Etta like walking real cool. Nana, Nana, dude looks like a lady. And then like everybody is walking.
I don't know what the production was for this, but do you think this is... I mean, this has to have been a new thing that they filmed just for the Blu-ray and the DVD, because Etta's secret mission is... If we watch it and we're like, okay, this kind of sort of could have fit in the movie, but if it's like an extra bonus thing, that it's just like, it's going to be funny, you know, it's going to be lighthearted, and it's going to be something probably after the war, you know, after the war with Ares. And it's just nice to see that they're actually like, we made a shit ton of money on this fucking thing and people love this. Let's give them even more for the Blu-ray release.
I definitely think that's what it's going to be too. I think they didn't expect Etta to be as popular as she was. And a lot of people really liked her character. So I could see this as her getting together the unofficial Blackhawks. We're not going to see
Blackhawks.
We're not going to see Wonder Woman in it. Of course, we're not going to see Steve Trevor. Because he's gone. I'm sorry. But I think we're going to see the unofficial Blackhawks and Etta getting together for something. And it'll just be a little short 10, 15-minute thing.
I like all the funny... There's got to be a name for it. We have to come up with it, but they've come up with a thing where, like we talked about it before, Steve Trevor, Chris Pine is on for 2 more films on their contract. That doesn't mean that he's going to appear in Wonder Woman 2 or 3. This is an option, right? If they feel like they want to use him, they're like, we have this option. We can, you can come back for X amount of money, percentage of box office sales, whatever deal they came up with, and then they can use him for the story, based on what they write. So people have come up with theories, and I've heard it on several podcasts already, where they're like, Martian Manhunter should be Steve Trevor in the future. It should be like an offspring of Steve Trevor who looks just like him, and then Wonder Woman can fall in love with him, and he can be Steve Trevor Jr. And I'm like, what kind of fucking... This is in line with the wacky fucking... The Joker is Jason Todd, actually. Like, that's that kind of line of kind of craziness that people come up with.
Or he could be dead. And maybe we see him in a flashback.
That's what it's going to be.
And maybe we don't.
And that's most likely what it's going to be.
I don't want Chris Pine to play Martian Manhunter. No offense to Chris Pine. I think he did great as Steve Trevor. But he's not Martian Manhunter.
Okay. I don't know. Has anyone... I hope no one said this before, Kelly, but I just came up with this, right? In Justice League, I don't know if it's going to be Justice League, but in Justice League 2, because this is before Wonder Woman came out, didn't know how it was going to be, the AntiLife Equation, sorry, after they defeat Darkseid, a product of them defeating Darkseid alters reality a little bit, and then, out of nowhere, Steve Trevor pops up along with other characters in front of Wonder Woman, and there's just this, like, him, like, in disbelief, and Wonder Woman seeing him, and them defeating Darkseid because of the impact that it would have on reality, altered it enough to where these characters that were dead are back. Like, what impact would that have on audiences to the equation to with the Justice League and interaction with them would bring back characters like Steve Trevor? That kind of impact would make audiences clap and cheer their fucking asses off in the fucking theater.
That would be so cool, except he is now like 100 years in the future.
No. Like, they pull him from time, from the moment that he was... that he died. Like, they don't have to explain it. People would be so fucking happy. And if they suddenly embraced and kissed, like, it would just... Wonder Woman has to now be the heart of this current DC arc, because this is what people most resonated with.
I am going to say something that I'm sure is very unpopular, though. I don't really want Wonder Woman with Steve Trevor. I think he would just hold her back. So
you, like me, are for the Wonder Bat.
No, I don't want her with him either.
She needs to be with Batman.
No, Batman needs to be with Catwoman.
He can be with anyone he wants to be with, including Wonder Woman, including Catwoman, Talia, Andrea Belmont.
Who? Talia?
Everyone under the sun.
Talia?
Cheetah, even.
He can be with Cheetah.
Just like in Justice League.
Try me. I don't want Wonder Woman to be with any man. I don't want it.
You love the Steve Trevor Wonder Woman relationship so much. You can't even say that, though.
I cried so much.
You do want her with fucking Steve Trevor.
But now that I've thought about it, because then I thought about it. And so, okay, so what if he lived? What would she have done? Would she have settled down, have kids with him, lived a normal life?
They could have been... I don't know what would have happened. Like, he would understand, because he's such a wonderful guy, and this is what, going back to what the director said, he would understand that she is Wonder Woman. She has to do her thing. And the director, Patty Jenkins, said that it's not that they were meant for each other or that, they were made for one another. It's that Wonder Woman deserves someone as wonderful as Steve Trevor. It's like, because she is such a great character, she should have an amazing partner too. So it's I don't know what to call that, but that's why he's around, and that's why people really like Steve Trevor.
But would she settle down and have kids with him? I mean, sure, she'd go flying off and do her own thing and save the world, but then he would just get older. She obviously didn't age. In the end, she still ends up alone.
To kill him off simply because the writer can't come up with a good reason for her to, she's just got to settle down, is dumb. I think writers are smarter than that, and I give them way more credit.
They are, but I'm just saying.
We're not writers, though. That's the thing. We're not writers, except for this AntiLife Equation. Like, bring him back using that. Do it in Justice League too.
I am a fan fiction writer, thank you. And I name my villains Sniper because they're snipers.
You still got to pull that up someday.
Oh, no, I don't. It stays buried in time. Unless you find the AntiLife Equation to bring back my fan fiction.
I'm pretty sure that's how the equation works, by the way. You could just do that. Bring back fan
bring
fiction.
Back anything.
So on to the next feature. The second feature on... Look, we're only about 40 minutes in, so we're on the second feature, yes. Not a lot of news this week.
So the second feature is called Crafting the Wonder. Explore the journey to create an adventure worthy of DC's greatest warrior.
So they're going to go through the history of Wonder Woman. They're going to interview probably Jeff Johns, Dan DiDio, Jim Lee, everyone under the sun, and talk about how great Wonder Woman is. I mean, you get that in every single one of these animated movies and regular DCEU films. The next one is join director Patty Jenkins as she takes you on an exclusive journey through Wonder Woman's most pivotal and exciting moments. So this is almost like a bigger version of a director's commentary. So they sat her down and said, we're going to film your ass as you are talking about these scenes.
They're going to film her face, Dan, not her ass.
You know what I mean.
But yes, we'll probably get her direction and her vision for scenes like No Man's Land.
Oh, what a great fucking scene. I can't wait to watch that again.
Yes. Or the moment when Steve Trevor dies.
Props to the fucking editing team on Wonder Woman because that No Man scene, I think the part where like I was really hyper focused on the scene is when the background noise of war just settles down and you almost can't hear it except for Wonder Woman's voice who says, no, but I have to do something. And she starts climbing the fucking ladder. It's so fucking like the editing doesn't get enough credit for that fucking scene. Like, of course, Gal Gadot and directing, but also the editors. Like, holy shit, man! What an amazing scene! One of our favorite scenes from all the 6 movies we saw this year so far. Like, it's an incredible fucking scene and something that people will highlight. Like we said in the fucking review, they will highlight back to that scene as one of these superhero reels whenever they talk about the DC movies or really any of them.
Hopefully we'll get some insight to the scene where the Germans crash on the beach too, and Robin Wright dies so epically.
So I pre-ordered you something at my local comic shop.
Is it her pop?
They finally made her pop. Yes. And you know what she's doing? She's in the air firing 3 fucking arrows.
Yes. As a pop?
Yeah, as a Funko Pop. She's got like a clear base. So yeah, it's super cool.
I'm so excited.
Like when we put in the orders for that, I saw another email. They're like, yeah, Robin Wright's character, this is probably going to sell. I'm like, yeah, let's get some of these.
Get them all. Can we put her on the mantle with like little incense around her and we'll burn them in respect for her death?
Yeah, we should. Let me ask you something. Like, as much as we like Wonder Woman, do you think they put out an Etta Pop as part of the same line? Will the Etta Pop sell? You just said people loved Etta. You said it yourself.
But we don't love Etta that much.
You're right. I would not buy a Funko Pop of Etta.
I would, and
I won't.
I would not.
But she's great.
She is.
She was fun.
I like watching her, but I would not. You know what pop we need though?
Which one?
Vegeta. I'm still.
You got to put him back in print.
Still waiting for my Vegeta Pop. If anybody has an extra Vegeta Pop lying around and you want to, send it my way, I want blue-haired Vegeta.
So you're making it even harder. The exclusive blue-haired Vegeta.
Yes, I want Super Sailor Vegeta blue hair.
Why is he Super Sailor?
I don't, because he reminds me of whenever they turn blue hair, they like transform like Sailor Moon.
That's true. They kind of do.
Like Frieza when he transformed. Spoilers. He transformed like a fucking Sailor Scout too.
I do like that his explanation in Dragon Ball Super was, just to keep it simple enough for your feeble mind, we'll call this Golden Frieza. And I'm like, that explains the stupid ass fucking name to it. Like, it was just Frieza being like, you're a dumb fucking Saiyan, so let me try to make this simple for you. It's like, god damn, Frieza. Holy shit, I'll accept that fucking explanation on why you're called Golden Frieza.
They have made Frieza pretty cool in the dubbed versions that we've seen.
And I'm sure there's been rewrites compared to the Japanese version. And the fact that he knows Beerus and fears him is so fucking funny to me. Like, all of these arcs have been lighter, even though the stakes are the same, you know, the Earth being destroyed and everyone in it dying. But the fact that he cowers in front of Beerus, he's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, stop cowering, Frieza. I'm just here to enjoy this delicious sundae.
I just need this ice cream.
It's so fucking funny. Like,
Beerus is great.
He is great. Next feature
Wonder
for Wonder Woman.
Rabbit trails.
The Wonder behind the camera. Meet the women behind the Wonder as they welcome a group of aspiring filmmakers on set for an exclusive once-in-a-lifetime experience. So this will most likely highlight some of the future female filmmakers that are trying to break into the industry.
That's good. They need this. They need more women power. We need to see more of that.
If they're all like Patty Jenkins, hell yeah. Let's do it. Win some Oscars.
We also have Warriors of Wonder Woman. Witness the creation of the Amazon army as the women of Wonder Woman transform emotionally and physically into the world's most powerful and heroic warriors.
So they're talking about the Themyscirians, the ones in the fucking background, giant, awesome fucking women kicking ass on the fucking beach, training the shit out of each other. Amazing fucking physique on all of the Themyscirians. Again, I still wish that Gal Gadot had, because she was training with these same women, that she had, you know, built up enough. But you know what? It's all just an aesthetic thing. It doesn't really matter. It's all about the story and the movie, and that's why we fucking loved it so much.
But you know, Ares didn't have any muscles either. Maybe it's a god thing.
We don't know if he had muscles or not, because he transformed and then he had the armor on.
And no muscles.
He got bigger. No. He did have muscles. Remember in that mustache scene?
The mustache.
Everyone talks about it. It's the mustache.
His cheesy mustache.
Yes, he's fucking had the mustache.
Remember when he was like dead on the ground after being shot with a lightning bolt? There were no muscles there.
No, he exploded. You never see him dead on the ground.
Yeah, you do.
No, you
see
don't.
him in a cave and he's lying there like healing.
You're talking about when he got cast by Zeus.
Yeah.
From there. He had the body of like a 25-year-old. That was the whole joke that people kept talking about. Like, he still has the same face as Professor Lupin with that mustache, but now he has the body of like a 25-year-old bodybuilder. Like, he still had the abs and shit.
Well, fuck me then. I don't remember any of this. I was too busy crying over Steve Trevor.
Yeah, you were.
I couldn't see through my tears. I was still crying over Robin Wright by that point in the movie.
I wonder if people who don't, had never or didn't realize that it was Robin Wright, if they cared as much when she passed away, or if it was just like, why do we care about this fucking character? We saw her for 5 minutes.
But she died so good.
She did, but like if I didn't know who she was, I'd be like, okay, it's whatever. We saw her for a little bit, but I cared. Like, I love Robin Wright.
Man,
she's an amazing actor.
I got my parents to care because I was like, Dad, that was Ginny from Forrest Gump, and he's like, oh, it was, and I'm like, that was also Buttercup from The Princess Bride. Oh, it was, and then they cared too.
More importantly, Claire. She was Claire from fucking House of Cards. One of the greatest characters on that show.
They haven't seen that. Show's too dark for my mom.
So fucking good.
It's great.
Frank Underwood.
Ugh, he's awesome.
Next special feature is The Trinity. Filmmakers and comic book creators explore the legend of Wonder Woman and how she stands shoulder to shoulder with Superman and Batman to create the pillars of the DC universe. Perfect sentence right there. The pillars of the DC universe.
So we're going to see a lot of background history on Wonder Woman. We're going to see a lot of her and her interactions probably with Batman and Superman.
Yep.
From the comic world.
Probably from Batman v Superman too. Might even get some Justice League clips in there.
Awesome. We also have Finding the Wonder Woman Within. Feel the power of Wonder Woman as award-winning poets and inspiring public figures reveal the impact and importance of DC's greatest heroine.
It's a lot of reflection features on this one. So they've got the comic book crowd. They've got who are they? We don't know.
Poets?
Public figurines. Figures. Like who the hell is that?
They went, oh shit, we didn't know this movie was going to do so well. Find stuff.
Get professors. Get some professor from this university. There's going to be a professor.
Oh yeah.
There will be one.
I hope it's Bill Nye.
He's not a professor.
I thought, no, he's a doctor. Doesn't he have his doctorate?
He's not a scientist. Like, that was one thing that people were like,
Really?
he's not really a scientist. And it's like, well, all the things that he's been talking about all these years, though, are still valid. Let's calm down here for a sec.
I gotta Google this. I don't believe you.
Well, while you're Googling it, we are also going to get extended scenes on Wonder Woman, which is great. I always like to see what the original features or the original scenes and how they would have played out if they kept it in the movie. They always have to trim down for audiences. They know people can't sit for, 3.5 hours of Batman v Superman. So let's definitely see what they were going to originally put in the final cut.
All I can find are articles on why I shouldn't listen to Bill Nye. And I don't believe those articles, so I'm not reading them.
Well, you can test the science of what he says.
Well, right. It's all right. But I thought he had a degree in something.
Oh, I don't think he does.
Oh, shit, man. Then I can go be a Bill Nye the Science Guy with my no degree?
If you are entertaining and you can spout, information that is truthful, then you can be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Science rules.
If you can...
There, I'm good to go.
If you can be educational, then you will be fine, because people will fact check your ass, and they have.
Be like, Kelli, the science lady. Science rules.
Boom, 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 boom.
I want to play that fucking show for our kid, even though all the science is fucking outdated. It's all outdated.
I'm totally fine with that. We used to watch that in science class, too, every now and again.
Yep. I used to watch that and Magic School Bus. I learned a lot from Magic School Bus, too. Miss Frizzle was fucking crazy.
Yeah, she was fucking insane. We're gonna go inside this kid's body today. I'm like, that doesn't sound good when you put it like that. I don't want to...
We're gonna go to the surface of the sun. We're gonna get baked inside of a cake.
I don't remember that either.
I think that was a book. And then there was the one where they fed the one kid too many carrots and he turned orange.
See, was he the 45th president? No. I'm not getting political, guys. I'm just kidding. Relax. Jesus Christ. The Blu-ray of Wonder Woman. When's it released, Kelly?
September 19th. Almost there.
Day one purchase. We're getting there. Day one purchase. It. But because of this, because it is DC Comics, because it is Warner Brothers, because it was written by Zack Snyder, as much as people don't want to believe it,
because there's a
part
female,
of it was written by
female,
and there's a female,
yeah.
Not everyone's happy with it. And because of that, we have this week's Nerd Rage Reaction! That is the sound of Wonder Woman kicking Nazi ass?
No, that was the sound of rocks and things going Super Saiyan. Because for your feeble mind, this is the golden Nerd Rage Reaction.
Nerd Rage Reaction is something that we pick out every week on the comment section, something that we find funny, irrational. We won't name out who it is. You're more than welcome to find them. But this is a comment that we picked out from this news story of Wonder Woman's Blu-ray release.
Ahem. Hopefully it's not something that is necessary for Justice League, like, good thing Etta and the others got this, now we can resurrect Superman, end quote. What the hell are they thinking? Do they not understand how movies work?
Oh, Justice League would totally... You won't understand Justice League unless you watch this special feature of Wonder Woman.
Yes.
On how they resurrect fucking Super... What a fucking idiot. What a fucking... But you know what, though? Like, even if they did that, any small insignificant action taken, hundreds of years ago, or in this case, a couple of decades ago, can impact the future in a big bad way. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, right? Mm-hmm. So... Like, even if you were to argue that, it's like, well, sometimes little actions do end up having huge impacts in the future, especially when you're talking about a movie that jumps through time like Wonder Woman into the timeline that is BVS. But, like, even if you don't understand that, like, how's this a thing you're upset about? It's a special fucking feature. You don't have to watch it.
Something you're even worried about.
Okay,
so let's say miraculously, yes, Etta and her gang find something to resurrect Superman.
They're called the Black Hawks, thank you.
The, quote, Black Hawks. So let's say they are. What makes them think that in Justice League, they wouldn't have a flashback to that happening?
Yeah, they're not going to summarize it at all.
No, they would just be like, oh, Etta got this for us. And that's all they're going to say. Etta got this for us.
Mm-hmm. And it would be for people that didn't see the special feature, that's all the information they would need. And if you wanted to see how it played out, sure, you can watch it. But even if that were to happen, which it won't be, like, they're not going to get, like, some fucking Kryptonian tech that they're going to give to Wonder Woman. Like, maybe this will be useful for you one day when some Kryptonian might die. And then none of that is... What a fucking weird thing to zone in on.
They just have nothing else to complain about in this movie because it gave them everything that they wanted. So they had to pick something.
That's true. That's so true. There's really not much you can say about it.
No, it's like when you get perfect fucking ice cream And then you go, well, the bowl is a little flimsy. Like, that's essentially what the spoon isn't big enough.
So there you go. With that, we wrap up the news for the week with a Nerd Rage reaction.
Very short news week. Hopefully next week we'll have more. It always fluctuates. I got plenty of rabbit trails for us to go down. It's fine.
Before we go into our comic book review of the week, let's head into our Patreon shoutouts of this episode.
We have 2 shout-outs going out this week. First goes out to John, whose Twitter handle is @John72Tex. And the second is Brian, whose Twitter is @BrianShelp1.
John recently got his copy of back issue number 99, which features a Batman the Animated Series tribute.
Cool.
He posted it up with his framed cover, or his framed print, or framed, not print, but artwork, original artwork of Bruce Timm's Harley Quinn, which they also used on this cover of back issue. So he posted it right next to each other and said, I got it early. And so that was on my orders too. And as far as I'm concerned, I guess I didn't get a copy. I'm like, God damn it, like it got missed or something. It's out of print now. So I'm either going to overpay for it on eBay or just tell John, like, so what's in that book? Like, is it really cool or what's going on? Like, I just want to know how much I missed out on in this one issue of back issue that I finally ordered. And I've never gotten one of these things. But as soon as I saw that they were doing a Batman the Animated Series feature, I'm like, oh yeah, fucking yeah. Add that to my previews order. Done. And I don't know where it is. So, and also Brian, he looks to be looking forward to the Batman and Harley Quinn animated film. He recently retweeted the Kevin Conroy behind the scenes recording for this upcoming animated movie. So he's really excited for what is essentially an extension of Batman the Animated Series.
We are definitely looking forward to it as well.
Brian has good tastes. John has good tastes. Anything with Batman the Animated Series, if you like it, you are our friends. You are well within the Brokehead core.
See, I was going to say, yeah, they support our show. They have great taste. But
See, I'm humble, Kelly. And that might be enough to get us over on the podcast awards for Games and Hobbies. Thank you all so much for supporting us on patreon.com/thereasonsimebroke. If you would also like your shout out every single month for as little as $1 a month, which goes out to about 25 cents an episode, if you feel like you are getting a quarter's worth of entertainment each week, head on over to patreon.com/thereasonsimebroke and become a Patreon backer.
But of course, our podcast will always be free. The best thing you can do for us is let your friends know about us. Leave us a review on iTunes or whichever podcatcher you use. That helps other people find us as well. And mostly just reaching out to us on Twitter, talking to us, asking us questions, letting us know what you loved about the show, what you would love to hear more of. Like we say over and over again, the reason we do this show is for all of you.
And a special thanks to decalavenue.com for the help at the $5 Patreon reward tier. Huge thanks once again to decalavenue.com.
And with that, we can move into our comic book review of the week. But first, I would like to give a shout out to our son right now who has hiccups.
Is that your first? Have you felt hiccups yet?
I have felt hiccups a few times, but it's just always weird because I'm like, what's going on in there? And they're hiccups. He gets hiccups frequently. I hope that's an okay thing.
Leo, how you get hiccups? You can't even breathe in there. There's no oxygen in there.
He practices breathing. He just breathes amniotic fluid or whatever the hell it's called.
Ugh, glad I never went through that.
Except you did.
So our comic book highlight of the week theme song.
As we said in the very beginning, this week it is Harley Quinn number 25, titled Surprise, Surprise, Part 1.
This is written by Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor, and Paul Dini, with art by Chad Hardin and Brett Blevins, with colors by Alex Sinclair.
Blevins is a good colorist name, too. If
It
Brett
is.
ever wanted to go into colorist, he could just be like, and colors by Blevins.
Does a good job in this issue, too. This is an oversized issue. It is $3.99, so this is one of those titles in which they are twice a month, but then they decided to sneak in an extra $1, but they added more pages. So we also get more of the Paul Dini, Jimmy Palmiotti story in the very back, and of course more story to the very main issue of the comic book, which is going to lead into, if you have been following the previews catalogs at all, is going to lead into Harley Quinn becoming the mayor of the city.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Because that's not trouble. So it does start out with the mayor's assistant who got them into all this trouble with the cannibals on the phone with the mayor. Like, look, I got somebody to take Harley out, but it's going to cost a nice $3 million, but we're going to take her out. And she's working with those organization to get it taken care of. But of course, things can't go as planned.
It is a celebration of not only the DC Rebirth Harley Quinn, but also the New 52 ongoing of Harley Quinn, which is where Jimmy and Amanda started this book. And yeah, there's been a new #1 since then, but the continuity has been the same. So all of the characters that you have met throughout these years do make an appearance at Harley Quinn's surprise party. And that also includes the Gotham City Sirens, which I have been seeing a lot of hints online, and I don't know how much of it is relevant, or how much of it is true. Babs Tarr has recently posted up a piece that features the Gotham City Sirens, and she hasn't been answering questions of what book is this for? Is this just a print? Normally she does say, yeah, this print's going to be available at this convention, but instead she's just like, yeah, I can't talk about it yet. So I think there will be a Gotham City Sirens comic book coming up very soon. If Babs Tarr is drawing it, awesome. She worked on the Batgirl series right before the DC Rebirth, not a reboot, but relaunch for DC, and we love her artwork. She did a great job on Batgirl, and she would be awesome on Gotham City Sirens. But even if she just does the covers, awesome. It's still a great hint, and hopefully it does mean the Sirens. But that would explain why Catwoman and Poison Ivy are both in this comic book. And yeah, I know they're characters in Harley Quinn's history, but I like to read into things a little bit more because these things are planned.
Poison Ivy has to be in there so Harley can make out with her. That's the only reason.
Pretty much. Like, as soon as they went, yeah, Harley Quinn is bisexual, they've been saying, look, see, she loves Poison Ivy. And it's like, all right, cool. It's been a thing since Batman the Animated Series. This is not a surprise.
This is a great issue, though. We get to see Harley in some of her finest moments. We get to see all of her friends, even
Power Girl. Close, though.
Close.
Pretty much, yeah.
Same thing. Even Power Girl makes a cameo in here. So definitely, if you have enjoyed this series, if you're a Harley Quinn fan and you haven't picked up this series yet, get on that, get this book. And of course, we have that great follow-up in the back by Dini.
Yeah, Paul Dini and Jimmy Palmiotti. This is the final backup story before they conclude it with Harley Quinn Loves Joker. And that's going to be a one-shot special. We just talked about it last week on the podcast. If you haven't listened to that episode, definitely check it out. And we're going to have a one-shot special that concludes all of these backup stories. I cannot wait. Paul Dini is on the DC side. He's finally done doing the television show, and I am enjoying every single fucking moment of it. As soon as his contract ended with Marvel Animation, head on over to the comics, and this is, where he excels. He did Detective Comics before the New 52, did an excellent job, and he has, if you've enjoyed any of those stories, a lot of those same characters are returning in these backups. I'm still waiting for the female ventriloquist to make an appearance. Yeah. She hasn't appeared yet.
Ah, she'd be so cool.
What a great fucking story. Dustin Nguyen was doing the artwork for that. So fucking incredible. One of our favorite artists, one of our favorite writers, teaming up years before even we started the podcast. And the fact that we're getting even a portion of it back with Paul Dini makes this comics like this one well worth the extra $1.
This is a great jumping on point. If you haven't been following the comic up till now, you can certainly jump on here and continue reading while you try to pick up those older issues.
Yeah, even if you don't, like let's say you miss out on Harley Quinn 1 through 24, which they are available on trade paperbacks, you can start buying from 25 onward and you'll be fine. So if you have a pull list or a subscription at your local comic book shop and you're like, I've always wanted to read Harley Quinn, start right now with number 25 and go forward from there. Like no comic that you start from the beginning will you ever be 100% familiar with everything in it. Take, for example, Mr. Miracle #1. It just released and it is a #1, but there are so many references to the history of Mr. Miracle that you're not going going to understand all of it. But if the writer, does a well enough job, you're still going to like the book. And that's what Mr. Miracle did. And this is what Harley Quinn does with number 25. But with that, with the comic book highlight, we will go ahead and wrap up the podcast. Once again, a huge thanks to everyone for our nomination. Everyone's nomination for the podcast awards on the Games and Hobbies. You guys influence the show. You guys influence the podcast. You guys support the podcast. We're sitting here in front of the mic and we're talking, we're putting together the news and editing the podcast and putting it up. But again, it's because of you guys that the podcast continues. So this is as much all of us as it is all of you. So once again, a huge thanks for joining us every single week right here on the Reasons I'm Broke podcast.
Thank you guys so much. I'm Kelli.
And I'm Daniel.
We'll see you on the next one.